Let's roll, man.
Welcome to the.
Quit fucking around.
Hey, we started.
We just did, man. Here we go.
Welcome to the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast. Please ignore Tony for episode 207. On this show, we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else the gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your host, Chad Wallace from the Firearms Radio Network, your source for broadcasts for shooters, hunters, and all things firearms related. And in this show, we'll be discussing the Night Fision tritium sight review that I did and posted. And then we're going to go into some Christmas gifts for the shooting enthusiasts. And we kind of have a short crew tonight. And all we have
Whoa, hold on there. Careful.
is Rob and Tony. So thanks for showing up, guys. At least you guys are reliable.
Well, that's because we've recovered from our Thanksgiving feastages
right.
over the weekend. Our festivities.
Yes. So, Rob, since you're talking, what did you do in firearms?
Oh, I didn't do anything. I just went upstate North Carolina and spent the weekend with my family, and we did some deer hunting all weekend. So I got going back into nature, going out there just hunting deer. I didn't get anything, but like I tell people, it's not the hunting or the killing that's really the best part. It's just going out there and just disconnecting, decompressing. No cell phones, and you're just out there just with nature, and you get to see the animals and the squirrels and the turkeys and all that crap, and it's just fun to be out there doing nothing.
Yeah, well, that's kind of something in firearms.
Yeah, oh yeah, it is firearms. It's hunting. It's having a good time. You know, then you go back and you spend time with your family, and you spend 2 hours arguing ballistic trajectories with your uncle, and then after that you do drunk Alexa searches. That's always fun. 10 o'clock at night, Alexa, order me a pizza. I cannot do that. All the pizza joints are closed.
Where's that button?
That is not nice to say. Oh, come on, Alexa, shut up. Will you please be nicer to me? No.
What? Really?
Yeah, but it's stuff like that. So, Tony, what'd you do?
I don't know. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything in guns, which really sucks. Other than dry fire, I was on Gun for Hire Radio this week, so I went there and I went to Gun for Hire Radio. And when I go, I try to get pictures of some of the cooler guns they have on the wall, guns, and I like taking the pictures, and they have cool stuff. I get there, they were busy, and I was like, "Hey, give me something cool so I can take a picture of it for the Instagrams, doing it for the gram." And Anthony came out and was like, "Hey, we're up. Let's go." So I got 0 pictures, and they got some cool stuff. But here's one of the things I'd like to do one day. I'd like to see if I can get someone from there or a place that rents guns like they do and find out what kicks butt with high round counts and what kind of stinks and doesn't live up to its reputation. How cool would that be?
Anything with guns sounds cool.
Hello?
No kidding.
Yeah, but talk about that, right? Go ahead. What's next?
Well, I was gonna say I'm about par on you with you. I guess I'm lamer because all I did was write a review. I didn't actually shoot anything or walk around and look for stuff to shoot or anything like that. So I guess what I did in guns is I'm doing this podcast now. That's it.
Yeah, so. You did your job.
Hey, so
congratulations! You get a bonus.
When you said. No, but Chad had me laughing because he posted the frustration that everybody who's trying to type something in has had. You're typing it, you're doing a review, and all of a sudden, poof, everything just goes away. And he had like, what happened? It didn't save. It just.
I was typing along, and I go to save it. I'm like, oh, I better save this. I had 4 or 5 paragraphs, most of the review done. And then next thing I know, it's like, and it just disappears. Like literally, it's like gone. I'm like, what the heck? And I'm looking, I'm like, okay, did it save it somewhere it's not supposed to? No, it was just vanished.
Yeah, if you guys read the review I did on Patriot gun polishing, no theme to the pictures is because the whole thing disappeared a couple of times. And I went, I'm putting these pictures in, I'm saving it, and I'm sending it to Chad, and I'm done. Around the third time. I'm like, here, just take it all. Just get it away from me.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, plus when I put it into the Squarespace stuff, it's easier just to send me the review, the pictures, because I got to put them in anyway. Even if you put them in the right spot, I still have to put them in. I just put them in where you put them in is basically what it amounts to.
Yeah, okay, because
Uh-huh.
it really did feel like the
So
equivalent of me shoving everything in a box and sending it to you. Here.
as long as all the pertinent information is there, and then I get the pictures, I just kind of shove them in where it looks good. So,
Yeah,
and
be
you
careful
know,
talking about
that's
shoving stuff in different places and woo.
this isn't the We Like Shooting show. We don't
Wow.
talk about that stuff here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
calm down there, Slick. It's a PG show.
It's a G-rated show sometimes until Rob's on here. So
Mm-hmm.
Love you too.
we'll get into the announcements. Yep. Bandwidth sponsor is our favorite buddies, Patriot Patch Co. They have new patches for pre-order and new patch of the month club, which is Santa with some rifle and a suppressor. And as people were trying to tell us, we're not sure how Santa shoots with his mittens because he's just got a thumb and mittens. So
Well, at least this year they've covered up the obvious mess up from last year, because last year he only had 4 fingers. At least this year
right.
he'll have. There's no way they can make him with 4 fingers because they're all in the
Right.
mittens.
And the round little, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Bingo.
And I don't think he had like an enlarged trigger guard on that gun to get his whole fingers in there. So, but it's pretty cool either way. So there is that new patch. I don't know if there's really any others for pre-order. So who knows? Listener support program. Go to firearmsradio.tv/pledge gun gear review podcast, and you can support our show. And if you want to support the other shows, why, I'm not sure, because we all know that this is the one you're
We're the
listening to.
best.
You can go to firearmsradio.tv/pledge. And if you are shopping Amazon, especially since it is the Christmas season, please use our affiliate link at firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. If you are shopping at Black Bag Resources and want to give all of your purchases to Simon Says Train and the 2A4E Diversity Shoot, you can use the coupon code Simon Says Train, and all that stuff will be donated to our buddy Tony. So tonight, our main topic for review is the Night Fision tritium sights. And this is my review. And I'm going to do this because if you watch the video, it's going to look like I'm pointing this at myself. And as you can see, it's empty. There is no magazine in it. So that way you can get a good picture of the sights, stuff like that. Okay, Night Fision is a new company joining Tritium Night Sight community. Their first offerings are for Glocks. I know, but there's a big market for them with Glocks. With other models to follow, I noticed on their Instagram they do have some, it looks like Smith & Wesson sights coming out. And as everybody knows, if you have a Glock, you got to get rid of the dovetail protectors and put some decent ones on. Well, Night Vision's here to help. So they sent these for review, and they, like I said, they are a new company. When I first received these things, I was waiting for this particular slide to put them on. So I just tossed them in the safe in their packaging, which is, plastic bubble packaging. And it's not like my safe's in a super lit area. And all I could see were these things glowing through the packaging, which was pretty cool, I thought, because they are quite bright. And I will try to give you guys an idea on the video here in a little bit. So I installed them on the Grey Ghost G19 slide that I also reviewed earlier. And another nice thing about these is even when you'd consider there to be enough light to see this regular sights, you can still actually see these things glowing. I don't know if as of right now, yeah, it doesn't look like you can see them glowing. I'll turn off my little light here in a second. They're made out of steel, as you would expect. They are black nitride coated, so the coating should last a long time, and they look good because of it. It's not just the tritium inserts that make these things pretty nice. The front sight has a colored ring around the tritium. Let's see if I can get a somewhat decent picture. There you go. You can kind of see it in the video. If not, you can go to the Firearms Insider and see them there. Big ring. They call it the perfect dot. It's available in colors of yellow, orange, or white. I opted for the yellow, which is kind of a greenish yellow if you kind of look at it. My next choice would have been orange. I think my eyes pick up the yellow better than orange. Orange is more of kind of a red. You can really pick up these front sights during the day super easy with that huge front yellow dot pointing at you. Plus, they also added daytime fluorescence to the color ring. So it so when like sunlight or bright light actually hits it, it actually even shows up better than if it was just a paint. You can also, if you would like, just buy the front sight by itself, which is kind of cool. The rear sight has a few options too. As expected, you can get the white outline dots, or you can get blacked out ones. And the blacked out ones just have the tritium inserts in them. You can get the rear sight with two options besides the white dots or the blacked out. You can get a square notch, which is what I got, or they also come in a U notch. I chose the square notch just because that's what I'm used to. The U notch, I'm sure, are very nice and work fine too. The other note is the rear sight's pretty much flat on the front and rear surface, which gives you a good sight picture, but it also makes it so you can rack the slide on like a table belt, anything, because it's square, you can grab it and rack the slide on. So that's another plus. I mean, it's not angled cut so that it, like some of them are nowadays, but it's still nice and square. When I was shooting these things, super easy to pick up this front sight during drawn shoots, like draw one, shoot once, stuff like that. Same thing if like I was dumping all 15 rounds at the magazine, it was like a small steel IPSC target. And you can do that because you can follow the front sight very easily, let it get back on target. The front sight, even though it's easy to pick up, it's wider than I like for a little more precision shooting. It measured 142 thousandths for me. The rear sight measures in at 140, which I guess the standard front Glock sight is about 160 and the rear is about 140. And if you've ever looked at those, they pretty much have no light on the side of them. I like a little more light, so either a narrower front or a wider rear. I don't know with their ring if they could really go much narrower on the front. So to get a little more light, I prefer slightly wider at the rear sight, but that's personal preference. Target transitions are super easy with this thing, as you can guess. It was fairly dark, or the sun was setting now that the time changed and it's dark outside at early. So I shot him at dusk once. The tritium really pops out at dusk. The 3-dot system works fine for tritium. That's kind of how you kind of have to use it. However, one thing I did find was that when you line the dots up, you get your front sight is a little lower, so it'll shoot low than just the sights being lined up normal. Not really a problem, probably unless you're past 15 yards or so. But as far as night sights and day sights, that they're a great combo. So they're a nice change from traditional night sights. I really like the yellow front dot for daytime use. The tritium is really bright. I'm going to turn this light off for a second and see if you guys can actually see anything glowing. And it doesn't look like it's picking it up on the camera. You can barely see it. I don't know if... Yeah, I don't think it's going to show up really. Well, it was worth a try. So, we will get into the Firearms Insider 8 key points. Claim to fame, tritium night sights with a twist. Target market is anybody wanting some form of tritium sights. The features and benefits, it does have the perfect dot with the daytime fluorescence, and that's that front dot color. The tritium is super bright. They're made from 4140 steel. They're black nitride coated. They are made in the USA. You can get different colored front sight rings, and you can also get the square U-notch, which the other options, finishes, you can get the white front, orange front, U-notch rear, or white dot rear. What others are saying, I could only really find one thing, so if you want to know what the others are saying, you can go read it. I did not find any other reviews on these. They are pretty new, so that's kind of a given. The MSRP on them is $89.99, which really for a set of sights like these is a pretty good deal. I found them for $80.10 at Rainier Arms, which is one of the few places you can find them right now. So if you need them now, you can go to Night Fision or Rainier Arms. Our ratings, the pros, they have bright tritium. The front daytime fluorescent dot is really neat. They're nitride coated. The price, and they are made in the USA. The cons is the wide front post, and the tritium dots have a different point of aim. So I gave them a score of 8, which was great. And I guess I'm a poet now because that rhymed. So, do you guys have any questions on those babies, or?
I don't know. I mean, I don't have any questions on them. I just have seen people talk about having the U-notch. You know what I mean? And talking about it was quicker target acquisition. I'd like to try that out. I mean, the couple of firearms I did check them out on, it was somebody else's. It was just a couple of shots at the range. You know what I mean? I mean, I'd like to check it out. And truthfully, high vis sights, I just wonder, because I've tried a couple of those when I was going through my training for NRA pistol instructor, but we never really went low light because it wasn't about tactical. It was about teaching basics and being able to fire, a bunch of different firearms. So I didn't really get a chance to work with them. I'd like to try it though one day. This is the first time. Have you done it before? Have you used them before?
The tritiums?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have used tritium sights before. I mean, really low light is really where they shine, because if it's dark, you're going to use some sort of other form of light, like a flashlight or because you have to identify your target. But in like low light, you can still, you can still identify your target and say, oh yeah, that's the bad guy that I need to do something about. And that's the thing, is these are so bright that it makes that really easy. I mean, that's the one thing I wish you could actually see on the video, but you'll have to go to the review to see. But they are really bright. They're the brightest I've seen, really.
Yeah, because I use my I have a Glock 19. I just checked it for all you safety Sallies that didn't notice it.
Yeah.
But I have high vis front sight,
Yeah.
but it's not a night sight,
Right.
and it kind of stands up.
Yes.
I just wonder, because I haven't done this in low light yet. I mean, I've shot in darkened ports, but not that the whole thing was shut down in dark. You know what I mean? It was a night firing class.
Right.
So I still didn't have a problem picking up on this because very few people are really in the dark nowadays. I mean, even when you're at night going to the parking lot, you have lights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my thing is the expense of buying tritium night sights and the fact that I already have high vis. I'm like, how much of it is a step up in capability? Or
Right.
is it money I'm spending that I'll never really use because I'm not gonna that what's the percentage? Is it that much better than what I have for what I'm really gonna deal with?
Well, and that's the thing is, but like I said with these, I mean, if you figure out what's a good set of sights cost, steel Glock sights, $60.
No, actually, you can buy them for $19. You can get
Uh,
Glock's version of their own steel sights. But I'm just saying.
I said good sights.
Hey, look, this is the Glock sight. This is the Glock
I know.
sight.
But really, I mean, for the price of them, it's not like they used to be when you were paying $200+ for them.
They were too expensive.
Right.
I mean, you get what you pay for, and they charge what they charge. I'm wrong about too expensive, but it was too rich for my blood.
Like these, I mean, Rainier Arms has them for $80. I mean, really, if you think about it, for a set of bright night sights, that's not. I mean, because we're old here, we know what they used to got. Yeah, that's for the front and rear.
Set? Okay, I take it.
The front by itself is only, I think, like $20.
Oh, then I take
Something
it all
like
back.
That.
Yeah, I take it all back. Never mind.
No, that's the whole set.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Yeah. Go out and buy these.
Yeah. Yep. So
when I get that, Glock would discount their guns by like $50 and not put sights on them. Because I know most people don't ditch the Glock sights and put real sights on them.
Right, but they'd only dock no the stock Glock sights. They'd only knock $1 off because, heck, you can buy a set for like $5 from Brownells or something.
They're not expensive at all, but I really didn't have a problem with mine until the front sight got all twisty turny on me, and it was hilarious because I was doing headshots at 25 yards at the range, like feeling myself. I was like, oh yeah, this is a good day. I got the pistol. I finally got it shooting. Bang, bang, bang. I'm putting rounds in the head, and then all of a sudden I'm putting them to the left, and I'm putting them to the right, and I'm like, what the heck is? And I look, and my front sight is just spinning around like a little.
Were you doing the hokey pokey, Tony?
Dude, it was like, okay, I know I got my trigger squeeze down, sight alignment, sight picture, whole thing. Why is it moving? And I was just able to spin the front sight in a circle. I'm like, son,
right?
God. So I had Sean replace my phone one day because I go through Sean even to buy my stuff, and I said, yeah, give me some high vis front sight for the Glock, and he did, and was able to get it on, and it's been sturdy the entire time. Now my rear sight is still what you guys would call the dovetail protector. I have the original Glock rear sight, and I've ran it. I've racked it off of tables, not much, but I've racked it off my clothing. And it still hasn't broken. My thing is I'll use it until it breaks just to see how much stuff it can put up with. I just want to see when it goes down, what it takes or how long it takes. And I think I'm, a year, 2 years deep in this now? It is what it is. It'll break. I just want to know when.
Yeah. I mean, that makes perfect sense. Okay. I guess we'll move on to the fun stuff, and our product spotlight tonight is Christmas items. I told people to keep it reasonable, and Tony stepped in, but he didn't put a high point.
Tony, but I decided not to.
And Tony didn't put a high point in here, so impressed. Rob, I'm going to let you discuss yours first, since you said there may be a chance you have to skip out. So that'll make it easy for us if you do.
Okay. Well, I picked two really simple items. I figured let's do Christmas and let's do it reasonable and not some ungodly. I wanted to throw a couple really nice scopes on there, but I said, man, nobody's going to be spending $3,000 for a scope. So the first one I picked was the Vortex torque wrench mounting kit, and that's what they call it, but it's basically a torque wrench, and it's MSRP $89. I think I saw them over the weekend at Brownells and Midway for around $60. So I think you probably pick them up cheaper than that, depending on where you look at. And the intent of this is, if you're mounting not just, I was looking at this mainly for scopes, but if you're going to be really putting anything on a gun where you need to have a specific torque applied to that item, you want to make sure you get that torque, because I didn't really realize this until I started getting into long range shooting, that you don't just want to tighten your scope down until it stops. You don't just like cinch the living crap out of it and say, okay, we're done. They'll tell you, between, I think, 15 to 18 foot-pounds. There's most of the Vortex scopes I've been mounting, and some of them around 20 pounds.
Yeah,
you want to go there and crisscross them and make sure you get them down level, and then you can use that to get you to dial in the torque, and it does a little click. Okay, you're done. Click, 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 and that way you don't have to worry about over torquing them. And what can happen when you over torque them is, I didn't realize this, but you can actually deform the tube the scope sits in, and you can actually bend parts of it and get it out of line. So now you just spent a couple $100 to hook up. Say you drop $3,000 on a scope, you don't want to put the scope on there and mess the tube up, and you put the scope on there and not realize it, and then you realize then you're shooting and your shots aren't consistent, and it's because you didn't put the torque ring, you didn't torque the scope down properly and the scope rings down properly.
So I saw you put this in there, and I'm like, oh, that's a great thing to put in there. Like you said, with long range shooting, the other thing is like if you have a stock on, you torque your stock to a certain level, and you may do it at 20 inch-pounds, or you may work your load up and then try different torque settings until you get it how you want it. And something like this is just great for that. I mean, this expensive. Is kind of MSRP is what, $90, $89.99.
Yeah.
And the Vortex one actually comes with some bits and some various other things, but it just uses
adapter, some bits, and then a little case to store it all in.
Right. So, I mean, you can't really go wrong with that thing.
Great stocking stuffer.
I know. I wish I'd thought of that.
Yeah.
But you know how I am.
Yeah, I know that Alzheimer's is Bonzer, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't even know your name anymore.
And of course, the next thing I picked was some, again, yes, Vortex precision matched rings. And basically what they do with these rings is when they mill them out, they mill them two at the same time. So you get basically they're exact duplicates of each other. So they're not like you're milling them out on an assembly line. They just pick two up, throw them in a box, pick the next two up, throw them in a box. These are precision milled throughout the whole process, so they're exactly the same. And the theory behind that is you'll get a way better mount for your scope and a way more consistent product when you're talking about the repeatability of the shot. Again, they are $200, but again, I was looking this weekend on Midway when I picked up a pair on Optics Planet, I believe for about $1.15, $1.20, and I didn't get the small ones. I was talking to the Vortex support department, and they recommended for my Ruger Precision to do the 1.5-inch rings, and I said, well, that's kind of stupid. That seems a little bit high. I said, trust me, you'll love them. I said, okay. So I went ahead and bought them. I'll let y'all know once they come in, because again, I figured, what the heck? I mean, I just sent my Vortex scope back to have some work done to it when the illumination part of the reticle stopped illuminating. So, and I found that it wasn't just changed a CR2032 battery; it was something wrong with the actual illumination part. So they sent me a new one. And when I get those in, I'll probably be mounting this on the Precision rifle and see how it performs.
Sweet. Yeah. I mean, if you're mounting a good scope, anything, good rings that are, machined together, honed together, stuff like that, just
Mhm.
are so much nicer. And like you said, they're a little expensive, but they're not terrible.
And again, I'm trying to work out a deal where I can get some time off from work next spring to take a couple more advanced long range rifle courses, and that's just the setup I'm going to try to use for that course.
Right.
Now,
So,
what made you choose those?
First thing
What
was
made
just
you choose those to use yourself?
There's stuff I thought I'd like. Well, originally, I know we've had some of our listeners say we want some more long range stuff. Okay, so there's some good rings for a long range setup. I was originally going to go with some really expensive stuff, and I said, "Nah, let's keep it cheap where most people can afford to buy stuff." And I figured, okay, well, tools, that's something that you can mail and ship. You can drop ship them and whatever. And I can bet you I could even send these to Tony up in Jersey.
Oh, no. Actually, what I meant by the question was, what made you choose them for yourself?
Actually, my Vortex scope.
Okay.
I became a real big fan of Vortex because I've got the Vortex Viper PSD. I believe mine's the older one, so it's 5 to 20 or 6 to 24 by 50.
Probably.
And it's a fantastic scope. That's the one I did the class earlier this year with, where I did that 3-round group at 500 yards.
Yeah, that's the reason I asked, because I think one of the aspects of taking a class that people don't get is you get to talk to other people about their gear and why they use it. And then you get to check out yours and see how it works in a class. I mean, a lot of guys go, well, I bought this because the scope came with the rifle. Like, I got my Axis and it has, like, I think a Nikon on it. But once you start taking a class, like I know that's not for a precision rifle class, but it can be, or it could be on one of those, optic equipped hunting class. And then all of a sudden you find out that that thing has like horrible clarity and very poor light gathering. But you didn't know that before because you only took it to the range and zeroed it on a sunny day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really cool. And I just wanted to put that out there for some people because they go, well, I've hunted my whole life and I don't need to take no class. It's like, yo, dude, calm down. When you get with others and talk about stuff.
Not only that, but every time I've taken a class, and it didn't matter what it is, even that long range hunting class, most of the theory I learned in other classes and learned from talking to other people. But there's always a nugget or two, or there's always some information I learned taking these classes that will help me improve. One of the guy I was shooting with, we were sniper spotter. He was actually pretty good. He had a Ruger Precision, and he changed up the barrel and had a nice Schmidt and Bender scope on there. And they actually told him, just reposition your torso and your legs when you're laying down in the prone position. And he actually got his group from maybe a 3-inch group to a 2-inch group. I mean, he just tightened it up that much more.
Yeah.
And
it's
always something to do.
My thing is, you learn about equipment, you learn about yourself, and if you're willing to. Now, if you're going to go show up and you're going to explain to your instructor how to shoot for real, then you're wasting your money.
No, those are the kind of people you take outside after the class and you say, look, I'm not paying him for you to teach me. I'm paying him to teach me. If you want to be an instructor, hang up your shingle and let's see if we can get people to pay you to teach them.
Yeah.
I hate those people, the ones that'll try to teach the class. It's like, dude, I'm not paying you. Shut up.
Yeah. It's like, dude, shut up. What you got?
I'm not spending $700 to listen to you. I'm paying $700 to listen to those two people from the room. Okay.
Yep.
I'm off my house.
Well, Tony, I guess I'll go now since yours is
okay.
You get to go last with the greatness. I put a couple things in here, neither of which I actually own, but two things of which I wouldn't mind owning. The first up was I put the 2A Armaments T3 compensator. I'm kind of a compensator nerd, I guess is what you'd say. So,
no, you're a nerd. You just happen to like compensator.
Yeah. Okay. What Tony said. Basically, it's your everyday cool looking compensator. It doesn't have anything super sharp on the end. So, you're not going to impale yourself with it if you drop it on your foot or something. So it's supposed to eliminate muzzle rise. It's a compensator. They're $79. Basically, it's made for 5.56, threaded half 28. It's 2.115 inches long. So you could theoretically pin and weld it to a 14.5 inch, and it's going to work. And it weighs 2.55 ounces. It's made in Idaho, so there's that for you. Super easy. Everybody needs a good compensator to make people at the range angry. Or if you're shooting fast. Yeah, Tony.
I didn't use it, but what happened is I was at Stone Mountain Machine Gun Shoot a couple years ago, and I met those guys from there, and I got to check it out. That thing weighs almost nothing in the packaging that they sell it in.
That's the thing is, like 2A Armament, they tried to. They're one of the companies that tries to make lightweight stuff. I mean, their stuff's lightweight, but some of their stuff is really lightweight.
Really?
And Tony can attest to it. So,
really?
Yeah. I mean, it's weird because it's still made out of, steel and all that stuff.
Like this is made out of titanium.
You can get both.
Oh, okay. Dude, they're takedown pins. Or
the Thai ones, yeah. Those
they're
are
made
like...
what are they? They're made of titanium and they're hollowed out.
Yeah, and the inside.
So they look like a rivet. A titanium rivet
seriously?
holding your gun together. It is ridiculous.
It is. They are ridiculous. They were also
good Lord.
Also at TriggerCon when I was there, and I didn't shoot their stuff, but they were there and you could feel it, and it's pretty lightweight, the titanium stuff.
Because you've seen. I'm not sure if it's coming up, but you've seen on like Wilson Combat, if you look at their Picatinny rails on their rifle, on their handguard, instead of having the entire Picatinny rail that goes across the rifle, what is it, about a 1 inch wide, the pick rail?
Yeah.
They cut like a 1/4 inch out of the middle of the pick rail. They just go down and look like they just grind the middle down till it's not there. So you just have the part where your whatever accessory clamps on. So that's how they do it. 2A Armament hollows out the inside of the Picatinny rail.
Did you remember I did that Athon handguard review, and that's the pick rail, it's an M-lock, so it's just the top one. But it's like hollowed out inside the, like, kind of not like this, but it's like hollowed out this way. And it's slick. But that's a
now my thing is it's really cool until you drop your gun in mud. And then you're cleaning your pick rail out with a Q-tip or your
toothpick. Yep.
Or you just go home and hose it out with a pressure washer.
Yeah, that's where stuff like WD-40, even though it's not gun lube, it works well for cleaning mud out of little small crevices.
Mm-hmm.
Well, next up, because everybody needs a quality knife, I put Benchmade's new Presidio 2 in here. And the reason I put this particular one is, one, they make really nice knives. But it also, I listed the MSRP, it's $205 to $270. And the reason is, and I did this more because depending on where you live, the $270 one is auto opening, and the $205 one has a thumb stud. So basically what it amounts to is in an auto format or a manual format. So depending on if it's legal where you live or not. And really, I mean, it's a little on the pricier side for a knife. They do have their Life Sharp guarantee or whatever. You can get it in a plain or serrated blade. It's basically satin. I don't think this one you can get encoded but everybody needs a good knife. The blade length, it's a larger knife, so it's 3.72 inches. And the whole knife itself when closed is 5 inches. So basically it's made from some S30V steel, so it's a good steel. Uses their Axis lock system. And it doesn't weigh all that much. The manual is 6.1 ounces and the auto weighs 6.3 ounces, basically. So it's not like it's super heavy for an auto opening knife or anything like that. And as we all know, I would take one of those also, so I could abuse it. And now we get into what Tony put in here. Oh, he put something else in here.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I put 2 items because everyone else had 2 items. And I'm still smarting over Ryan lambasting me last time because, my wish list included only stuff that was Jersey legal. So one thing that anybody can afford, and I know, and I've talked about, because we've gotten use out of it, is the Dead Man's Hand training cards from RE Factor Tactical. And I've used them. They're $20. They're $19.99 on their website. And then you can pick up their targets, which is about $1 a target because they can. I mean, it's already Factor Tactical, and they can get away with what they get away with. But it's really fun to shoot these things. It's fun to shoot the drills. A lot of fun. I told the story here. I don't know who listens to this show, like if you listen to it routinely, but you heard me tell it. I was testing out the magazines for the High Point 9mm carbine, a 20 round and a 15 round mags from Pro Mag and a 20 rounds from Red Ball. And I'm like, this has got to be the most boring thing in the world, testing out magazines. And I started pulling out the RE Factor Tactical cards and just shooting drills. And the next thing I knew, I went through 200 rounds. Smooth, Chad. I went through 200 rounds shooting, just using these training cards. So they're a lot of fun. Check them out. If you go right now, if you go in their RE Factor Tactical Team Room on Facebook, they have a 20% off discount. So that'll pretty much knock the price of shipping right off of this thing. So if you want to check it out, here's one way to do it. Again, it's $20. If you don't want to do it that way, you can order them off of Amazon, and they work for Amazon Prime too. So it's up to you if you want to try it out. That was the first item, and it's something I actually used. And the second item I want to talk about is the Daniel Defense DDM4 ISR, which is their integrally suppressed rifle in 300 blackout. Reason I bring it up is because you might hear me on this show poo-poo 300 blackout, and I do when you have 300 blackout in what I consider the wrong format. 300 blackout was used and developed for entry teams for SWAT because they wanted something better and harder hitting than a pistol caliber carbine. So wanted something you could suppress that was hard hitting and not in a pistol caliber carbine. So pretty much, I think it's 308 diameter, right? Isn't 300 blackout like 308? It uses a 220 grain bullet coming out subsonic out of a 9-inch barrel suppressed. And that's what Daniel Defense makes here. And it's just a sweet rifle. It's done like it was supposed to. So you have Daniel Defense 9-inch cold hammer forged steel barrel with target crown on it. Then you have the suppressor on top of that, and the whole thing still comes out to 16 inches. They have one of their 4-end grips on it. The whole thing is lightweight, is short, and it's really built like it's really purpose built. I mean, there's only a couple companies that are really good that build suppressed 300 blackouts already, and this is one of them. I'd go with this every time if I had the monies and if I lived in a free state. Of course, the MSRP is so, but it's
$3,200.
only a yeah. Again, it's a wish list. It's Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. Um, Another wish list item, since we're talking about it and Chad's busy right now. This is called vamping. Um, is High Point is putting out their 10mm carbine with a threaded barrel. It would be really cool if they started just selling stuff and giving you the option of a threaded barrel for the 9mm and their 45 and their 40. Just so if you choose to do it, you could just have a threaded barrel. I mean, I don't know who wants to pay the extra money to have a High Point barrel threaded, but if they just sold it like that as an option, that would be really cool. Because I don't plan on living in Jersey my whole life. You know what I mean? So, yeah,
Yeah.
suppressors. A suppressor's not legal here, but a high point carbine is blowback operated. I'm thinking that's a pretty easy thing to do. You can probably just direct thread that. You don't even need a booster for it, do you? I mean, you know about suppressors, right, Rob?
Does the barrel rotate when you shoot?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so the
Nope.
barrel stand doesn't move?
No, barrel doesn't move. It's a simple blowback
Okay.
operated. The bolt
Then
moves. That's
what
it.
you'll need to do is make sure you can get a can that has a spacer in it, because like my AAC can, it's got a booster in it, and I use that when I shoot like my Glock or my FN. But if I shoot it on a rifle, like my 300 Blackout pistol or my 300 Blackout carbine, I have to take the spring out and the booster out, and I put a sleeve in where the spring goes, and that keeps the can will normally pivot a little bit. The Nielsen device, you want it to be locked straight so it doesn't move, because you don't want the
Yeah.
can to pivot down when you shoot and you blow your baffles out.
Yeah, I hate to
Yeah,
have blown baffles.
yeah, I don't like blown baffles. That's when you call AAC and go, "Hi, yeah, I did something stupid," and they'll go, "Yeah, you did." And this is what it's
Yeah,
going to
actually,
cost you to fix it.
they had a baffle strike happen with one of the suppressor companies at the machine gun shoot. Yeah, that was interesting. Sadly,
Yeah.
I didn't think their suppressor was that great anyway. It pretty much, I'm like, why? Because the suppressors also is about tone, even though shoot the same decibel, right?
Yeah,
Two
different
different
tones.
suppressors can sound totally different. We had one suppressor company shooting 45, and you couldn't really hear anything comparatively. I mean, you could hear the action, you could hear like the action move, and then you'd hear the ting downrange on the target, and then you'd have this one company, and it would really sound like somebody took a bamboo like stick and slammed it on a picnic table every time they shot. And this was 45 ACP that was subsonic. I'm like, what is that crack? It's like it's subsonic rounds. Why does it sound like a sonic crack?
Yeah, and they could be rated for the same.
What was
They
that?
could be. They could be rated for the same decibel too.
Yeah, it's the same decibel. It's just tone. It sounds different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. The knife thing. The knife
Yeah.
thing. I just started looking because Battle Horse Knives donated this knife that we're going to eventually raffle off. I just want to get a big enough audience because the last time somebody won it for $80. It's what $100 and something knife or $200 knife. I forget which one.
Yeah.
And somebody won it for $80, and I was like, that's great and all, but come on, man. And you can see the difference between that and like my Cold Steel, like Pendleton Light 100 is $20 or $30. You could definitely see the difference in it. So I guess when it comes to something like Benchmate,
Yeah.
yeah, you can see the difference between that and your gas station flea market.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have an old Benchmade that I've had for years, and I retired it a couple years ago because I literally wore the thing out, and it was just a standard flip open style. But that thing had been abused so much and still stayed tight. So I'm kind of, they are like that. So, hey, thanks for filling in for me, Tony.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, listen, dude. Anytime you need help, I'll sit in there and I'll just point it out, though. Hey, look, I'm being awesome because I'm being awesome because Chad dropped the ball, and then
Oh, look, you're old and can't remember names either. Hey, we got something in common.
Pretty much. Yeah, somehow I've become like my mom, and I just call people by name until they answer.
Yeah, I can see that. So, are we done talking about products since I missed the cool suppressed 300 blackout?
Yeah, I think we're done talking about products.
Okay. Well, as usual, no listener feedback. People need to start leaving me stuff so I can find it and we can talk about it on here. I guess now it's time for Tony to start yakking again. But his second is for everyone.
The problem is he can't start yakking. He never stopped.
Yeah, that's probably true.
For somebody that couldn't make it to the end of the show, you sure as heck made it to the end of the show.
Just so we could pick on Tony.
You're number one with me too, Rob. The second is for everyone diversity shoot, November 30th. It will, by the time this aired, it was yesterday, right? Doesn't this air Friday?
Yeah, most
Post
likely.
Friday? Yeah. Yeah, it was yesterday. You should have been there. We all asked about you, but you weren't there. So, um, that's going to be the last one of the year. I'm going to set the schedule up to find out. I'm going to try to bang them out next year at multiple locations. But as soon as we have dates, I'm going to post them so people can make it out. If you want to help us, we're still building the 2A4E AR. I need an upper receiver. Someone shot me an email and they said they had a slick sided upper receiver and I cannot find your email. I'm going to have to go through again. I do apologize. So, again, need an upper receiver, gas tube, little items like gas tube, gas block, stuff like that. So, if you guys can help us out, really appreciate it. Faxon Firearms donated a 16-inch gunner barrel, which was awesome. And Hollenbach donated a lower receiver. They're out of Mississippi, American made. Looks really great. So you guys check them out or even shoot them like some kind of contact to their Facebook page. Let them know you heard about it on the show. All right. I really appreciate it. Oh, hey, is it okay if I talk about the 2A4E podcast on diversityshoot.com that Sean and I do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hey, we do a 2A4E podcast on diversityshoot.com. It's Sean and I and what our phone conversations would be like. Or, if Chad didn't hold us back and stop us from talking here. It's really what happens after the show is over and Chad goes to eat because he's old and has to watch Matlock while he eats.
Or it's what happens before the show.
No, after the show, we're really wound up and we just go at it. It's a free-for-all.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun after the show. Maybe we can do something like We Like Shooting and do a Patreon and people drop by or something. Once a month. Nah, never mind. No, let's not do that. That's a horrible idea.
That is a horrible idea.
Well, let's put it this way. No, I'm not going to comment on that. I'll get in trouble.
How can I cut that out?
We're not doing that. Yeah, matter of fact.
Make sure you timestamp that whole last minute and a half conversation.
No, I'll just cut it out.
because we're not doing that.
I mean, that's easy. Okay. Well, we're on to the wrap-up, I guess.
Oh, yeah, don't forget.
Oh, wait, no.
GoFundMe. I forgot. I just saw it myself. The GoFundMe we just set up, people are donating, which is really awesome. I'm just trying to get some money in at the end of the year so I can take advantage of the sales so I can have stuff to give away for the rest of the year. That's pretty much one of my secrets of making this happen is dumping a bunch of money at the end of the year in the prizes for the rest of the year. So if you guys can help me out by donating, I really appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah. Go donate to Tony or us, either one.
Or both.
Well, now we're into the wrap-up. Now that Tony remembered he's trying to get money. So send questions or comments to gungearreview@gmail.com. Remember to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review so we can read it under the listener feedback. Check out all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network at firearmsradio.tv. Be sure to visit the Firearms Insider for reviews and industry coverage. Check us out on Facebook at Facebook.com/Firearms Insider or something like that. Follow us at Firearms Insider on Instagram, and we are out.
Bye, Felicia!